short fiction has been published in numerous online zines and anthologies, as well as in F and SF. She is assistant fiction editor at Abyss and Apex. Her first novel, Esprit de Corpse, is the first in a steampunk paranormal romance series involving the twins of Belfay. For Strong Women, she edits the Zoom recordings into videos for our YouTube channel and for individual authors to post on websites or blogs. Take it away, F.
Thank you, Kate. You are wonderful. A year ago, I read from chapter 1 of this novel, and at that time, Jacqueline Duval discovered that there was this automaton who had gone rogue, and inside the automaton was a skull with mysterious writing on it. So Jacqueline takes herself to Paris to see if she can solve the mystery of this mysterious skull and what it could possibly be used for. Those of you who know your French literature, you're going to have a ball with all the Easter eggs. So Jacqueline is heading down the boulevard, and walking toward her, oblivious to the gawkers around him, was Angélique, her sister's best friend, Charles, an aspiring poet, if Jacqueline recalled correctly, a slender fellow with a dandy sense of fashion, disheveled black hair, and a full beard and mustache. He staggered down the boulevard covered in patty yellow mud, obviously drunk, still, already, and juggling 3 skulls. Jacqueline ran to intercept him. Charles! He stopped, and the skulls clattered to the pavement. What in the world are you doing with these? Charles hiccuped as he bent down to gather them up and began juggling them again. I thought it was obvious. He tossed one to her, chuckling. Death, while in life, should be no less a part of it. She examined the skull, but it was unmarked. I mean, how do you come to have these skulls? Where should they be? Surely your delight in the empire of the dead doesn't extend to grave robbing. He leaned a hand against her shoulder, grinning into her face. You wound me, Mademoiselle Jackie, but I forgive you, for I am in love, and when I am in love, no one goes unforgiven. He took back the skull. No, I found these upon the ground near a slight aperture that most likely leads to the developing ossuary below us, to speak of the empire of the dead, the catacombs. But they're closed to the public, she said. He set a finger to his lips, which is not to say how these 3 escaped. Jacqueline drew a sharp breath. Skulls from the catacombs? 6 million skulls at least, enough to power an entire army of automatons. Charles, can you show me this aperture? He drew himself up, wiped a finger across his mustache, sniffed, and burped. I'm not sure. I can try to retrace my steps once I remember last I drank. Jacqueline snatched his lapels and shook him. I need you to remember. Easy, easy, he brushed her off. I do remember. There was a dead crow in the road, near the Taureau Noir. Up this way then, she headed north, dragging him with her. Yes, a dead crow, legs in the air like a whore. But pulsing with life, don't you know, full of maggots. I think it was crushed by a cart. It looked like it was breathing, the way maggots swarmed within, pulsing and writhing. The irony upon irony quite fascinated me. A carrion bird, itself carrion. Dead, but appearing to be full of life, much like this city. Modernité, my dear Jackie, life goes on not despite, but because of the rot. Jacqueline wagged her head. You are one morbid soul, Charles. I'm not the one looking to climb down into the empire of the dead. He pointed to a street lamp, swayed that side with emotion. You're gonna need a light. Yes, she agreed. Probably more than just a candle or 2. I'll work that out. He turned her off the boulevard to a side street and then a narrow, closed alley. Here, he announced with dramatic flourish, le derrière d'enfer. The buckled pavement had tilted up. and separated from the street. Where they had once met, a long opening had caved inward, just wide enough to let a slender body pass. Jacqueline stooped to examine it and found the yellow earth worn smooth. Someone comes through here regularly. It must be fairly usable then. She stood and wiped her gloves. I'm almost willing to hazard there are candles and lanterns stowed just inside the entrance, but I won't wager my life. She went back to the boulevard to get her bearings and pointed west. Rue Saint-Georges it is. Charles held back and bowed. Not I. I have a rendezvous to keep with my beloved. I wish you good fortune on your hunt, Jackie. She hurried back to kiss him and kissed him on the cheek. You have been an invaluable help to me, Charles. Thank you. He blushed furiously, but grinned as he saluted and walked away. He began to whistle, indulging in the shocked glares of the passers-by. Jacqueline headed back to the Barrière d'Enfer and hailed a fiacre to Rue Saint-Georges, number 10. No more than a rundown barn, the temporary home of Adolphe Sax' musical instrument factory. Fortunately for her, due to the current conditions of his workshop, Sax was willing to interrupt his work on his various horns to cast brass tubing and sheets for her to bring in extra funds, hoping to soon buy himself a real foundry. As she moved through the factory, she could hear Sax on the far side, engaged in a lively discussion with an older man. They broke off as Jacqueline approached. Duval, Sax greeted. Beat Hector Berlioz, Jacqueline Duval. Berlioz kissed her hand perfunctorily and then finished his conversation. In any case, do not be surprised by commissions from Germany as I complete my tour. Will you be able to handle them all? Sax waved. Of course, absolutely. By November, I'll own half this block. I'm sure of it. Good. Berlioz shook his hand enthusiastically. Until my return, then, my friend. He strode out of the factory while Jacqueline shook her head. Sax, you know you can't. Sax stopped her. You have no idea what I can and cannot do. She smiled. I know you're broke. She reached into the inner pocket of her coat and brought out a wad of francs, which she pressed into his hand. I hope this helps. Every sou, each écu, he replied with a grin. Where shall I deliver the order? She gave him the address. One more thing, if I may, Sax. I need a lantern. A musler, if possible. Do you have one to lend? He wagged his head, chuckling at her. You are the strangest woman indeed, Madame Duval. But he did indeed have a safety lantern for her when she came away satisfied. More so because she had managed to leave his shop before he started playing some new incarnation of the saxophone for her, a sound somewhere between a throttled goat and a bloated cow. She much preferred his flugelhorn. And that's where I will end.